Hello everyone, Blue Star Saber here once again to do another One Piece chapter review, chapter 1020, Atlas. This chapter, from my understanding, this chapter I've been meaning to do for a while, but I have been pretty much absent because I have been a bit busy. Was doing a bunch of things, and some related to other streams and some related to stuff in my personal life. But either way, I'm finally here to review it, even though I arguably wished I could have done this review much sooner. But yeah. Anyway, this chapter is pretty much, from my understanding, the first chapter in a very long time of One Piece to do 19 pages, which on one hand means more content for me to review, making it longer, but on the other hand, it is nice that we're getting more pages for One Piece, as many of them have been 13 chapters. Some have been expressing concerns for like Oda's health, and others just thinking that this might be just Oda being very careful with what he's putting out with like Vegapunk's speech, because he doesn't want to do too many spoilers. But yeah, pretty much the last chapter had Luffy and Barney teaming up with like Gear 5. Well, Barney doing a pretty imitation of it, from what we can tell. With them working with Frankie and Sanji to do a combination that sent Marcus Mars flying, while let's see, Emma, we learn that the giant robot's name is Emmet, and as he awakens from Joy Boy's, sounds of the sun god's heartbeat, Vegapunk's message comes back online, showing a few notable characters. And once he returns, he ends up punching Top Man Walkery, flying, Luffy getting excited that a giant robot is there. But anyway, that's the events of the last chapter. Now these are the events of the current chapter. Though before we begin, we have another cover story bit with Yamato, with the Ogre Child Yamato's Golden Harvest Surgrid Pilgrimage, Volume 10. That title is a mouthful. Where Denjiro Daimyo of Kibi sentences the children. Where we see Denjiro, grabbing up the children that were throwing stones and rocks at Yamato, having them all trapped in a net. They'll go, bah, 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 bah. Him smiling at Yamato, but Yamato is just kind of putting his or her arms up, just trying to say, implying that Denjiro no need to go that far in punishing the children for their behavior, if you will. So, yeah, let's see. This cover story gives us quite a few aspects of like gives us quite a few ideas of I'm just trying to get the chapter page. Let me just actually One Piece Wiki. Let's see. There we go. Let's see, chapter 1121. Nope, 1120. Denjiro. Daimyo of Kibi. Let me just take a look. No. Nope. Oh yeah, let's see. So sorry for the delay on that, but yeah, this chapter pretty much gives us some information about Wano post like the Wano arc, in which we learn that Denjiro has become the new Daimyo of Kibi, which is a replacement of the former Daimyo, let's see, Fugetsu Omibashi, that sort of round-faced Daimyo that Yamato befriended years ago, who befriended Yamato, and apparently I believe his family made one of those legendary Kibetsu swords. But yeah, so we pretty much learned that it seems like this cover story has probably revealed that probably some of the remaining 9 scabbards of Wano have arguably now become sort of like the daimyos of certain regions, at the very least. Probably the ones that come from Wano. Let's see. We don't know. Kimiron seems to remain as the right hand of Momonosuke, but it seems like some of the other retainers have probably become daimyos of certain areas, at the very least. At least Denjiro has. If I had to guess, maybe Raizo has become one. I'm not sure about the remaining Minks and Fishman daimyo. Fishman retainers, but I wouldn't be surprised. It could be possible they also get those titles, though. I'm wondering how they are technically foreign outsiders, so I'm not sure how that will be treated. But yeah, at the very least, it's nice to see that the members of Momonosuke's at least the 9 scabbards have risen the ranks to be important officials in the new Wano country. Arguably, the bloodlines of probably the previous daimyos have probably been driven to extinction as a result of Kaido's invasion, unfortunately. But or at least their male lines have been extinct. As technically, I believe Zoro is from the same family that Ryuma's from, but he has but that's more for he has for the female line. So, but he doesn't really quite know that. But yeah. Anyway, I do like how Denjiro is protecting Yamato from the kids, showing that he's learned not to do the prejudice of the previous generations, and perhaps seemingly punishing the kids. Though I do like how Yamato seems to think that he's perhaps going a little bit too far and netting them up. But who knows? We'll have to wait and see how they get disciplined, if we do actually see them getting disciplined or not. But yeah. Anyway. The first bit of the chapter is actually a bit of a flashback to 26 years ago, where we see that Dr. Clover's asking Vegapunk to study the Void Century with his group, saying that there's a darkness too deep in the world to leave unaddressed, but he's asking him please and all that, but yeah, with him saying that how we need more expertise the more we find out about the research, but Vegapunk says he's a government scientist now, and he cannot give him any data that will cause him trouble. And warns him, you've been arrested how many times by now? Which I believe was 10 or something. And warning that the government knows exactly how to find them. And he pretty much tells Dr. Clover, surely you realize that there's only one reason why they let you live, implying that the only reason that they allow him to live is so that they can gather more of their allies, as that's what he ends up saying, as they're waiting the time for him to round up all their friends, and telling him to pull back for now, and saying the darkness of this world doesn't really matter, saying that you can't really measure the past of good and evil. But Clover says he once saw a man with the name D die right before his eyes. And revealing that this man was one he was born and raised with, and saying that it was his older brother. This shocks Vegapunk, and Vegapunk says Dr. Clover reveals that his true name is Cloudy Clover. Upon understanding it's some Irish dialect, I think in reference to Professor Clover's Clover sort of hairstyles. I don't know the actual proper pronunciation of it, so I apologize to my Irish friends that if I mispronounce the Cloudy Clover's name. He says that he tells that he's only survived because he lied, saying that, wait, this guy's only my friend, I have no family connection to this guy, as we see silhouettes of his death, if you will. With him saying, how is it right that a person can die simply for declaring their name they were given at birth? And saying that only for the secret history, there's a secret history whose traces are continuously erased. So saying that He needs to find out this history. You need the sort of like implying he needs to understand this history to understand why people are being erased. But Vegapunk still says he will not help him, and he will just forget what the information he just said, and just tells him just the best he can do is tell him to be careful with Clover just shouting his name, and with him saying that he will solve this mystery someday, and that the voices of the past will be heard to the rest of the world. And this is where we get, then we cut to like 22 years ago, which is when the Buster Call take place. With, as someone, I assume, possibly Caesar saying, "Oh, did you hear about Urahara and Blessed Blue? They got a Buster Call saying, ooh, I wish I could see the slaughter unfold." With him laughing about how the archaeologist finally caught him by the toe now, and laughing about it, saying that no one would be foolish enough to or dare to like study the Void Century, given that he was used as a perfect scapegoat to like or perfect example of why you should never do it, or scaring anyone from doing it in the future. But Vegapunk is just listening in silence, listening to like Caesar in silence, just more thinking about what like his friend said a few years back of asking him to help. And him looking at a wanted poster of Nico Robin saying that a single child escaped alive. With Vegapunk just looking, realizing that, saying that surely Clover had time to escape, looking at the books and holding up the pretty flowers to pay tribute, and then just looking at the books in the water. And then we see him crying, saying, thinking, did you all die just to preserve this vast store of text for the future? Thinking that it's ridiculous. How would you like who would even risk their who would even risk their life to continue their research, knowing that it could result in their death? And we get back to the present, where Vegapunk's saying how someone once said that the voices of the past will be heard, and said how history is told by the winners. And then we get those from the Baratie, particularly Zeph and, if I recall his name, Patty, yeah, listening in as he saws about the voices of the losers at the bottom of the sea are so faint. And then we cut to, like, I believe that place where Robin was, Jaguar Wolf, I think, was enslaved, where we see some whips bashing Slave, telling him to get back to work while Vegapunk's message is being heard. Maybe this is a way of implying that example of some of the losers of histories that they've been forced into slavery to, if you will. And then we cut to like Robin listening into one of Vegapunk's transponder snails, holding her hand, just covering her eyes, perhaps listening into like Ritzy feeling all kinds of emotions as you're listening to like Vegapunk saying at the cost of so much sacrifice. Arguably, probably perhaps remembering the people of Urahara and realize what Vegapunk's doing with his message. Anyway, I'm going to cut here with this part of the chapter, with this bit of the summary, where we learn quite a bit in this. We learned quite a bit in this little bit of a flashback, as we learn that Professor Clover is actually a member of the D clan and the Will of D, which I will admit, I don't think anyone suspected him to be a member of the D tribe. Though now that he is, I think you've got all kinds of people wondering, okay, if he's a D member, who else do we know in the story is actually a D? Now, for all we can tell, I mean, more people like Rona D. Zoro or Nico D. Robin. Some of those I think theories and guesses have come up yet. Now, granted, I doubt that those two would end up being members of the D clan. I mean, I'd be shocked if Robin actually. I mean, okay, if I had to guess between the two, I would probably say Robin would be perhaps a secret D over like Zoro, but that's mostly because Zoro is ancestry is from Wano, not actually members of the D clan. So I don't think he would actually be a member of the D clan. And I think, then again, I feel like Oda only really wants to have Luffy as the only member of the D clan in the Straw Hat Pirates. The only exception you could say is probably Vivi, who is also secretly a D, though she doesn't quite realize that itself. But yeah, but we end up learning a little bit more about Vegapunk's relationship with Clover. Though, well, I mean, I do like seeing like the two dragons that Vegapunk built. One of them is a small one. At least one of the small one is there at the very least. I mean, granted, one of them, I thought it might have been a dragon at the top there, but now I'm thinking that might be one of the failed ancient giants. But yeah, but it's interesting that we end up learning quite a few bits of motivations for characters, particularly we learn the reason why Clover, wants to learn much about the Void Century is because his brother was also a member of the D clan and he was killed just for having the name. And he had to lie about having not being associated, not being blood related to his brother by just saying, "Oh, I'm just a friend." And it's like, due to the result of that death and destruction, if you will. Clover has become motivated to learn the true history of the world, to find out why on earth his brother was killed just for having a name. Now, granted, this is a bit surprising, I think, for some people, because there's been quite a few people that have publicly called themselves D in the family, particularly the Monkey D family, but yet they've not been killed and prosecuted. So this has led to some people wondering, like, is this a bit of contradiction, or perhaps maybe Garp, being the hero of the Marines, did so well that it's resulted in the world government maybe not as prejudiciously executing those of the D clan as much as they can. Though granted, one contradiction statement to that kind of argument is the fact that Law had to hide his family's D name, as though he didn't quite understand why, but the moment he revealed it, that's resulting in Coulson revealing his cover to Law and getting him to turn against Doflamingo in the end, because if Doflamingo learned who Law's actual name is, he might actually kill him. As Doflamingo ends up actually fearing and hating the D clan himself, being a member of the Celestial Dragons. But I do like how we see that Vegapunk was actually at first reluctant to help Clover research the Void Century, thinking that it's not worth the risk, it's not worth getting your life killed and all that stuff, and only changes his mind when he learns that Clover and the others died, and is heartbroken at his friend's loss, and even though he thinks it was foolish of them just to try and keep all those books alive, deep down he knows deep down he is sad at the loss of his friend, and he knows deep down that he has to continue their research. So I do like that. Anyway, Caesar continue to reveal to be a bit of a scumbag, and seemingly enjoying the fact that Urahara was genocide by the world government, and thinking that they were used as a example. Granted, it's interesting he'd seem to not really care much about the Void Century at this time. But I do wonder with Vegapunk's message if he will actually start to perhaps maybe take a little bit of interest, particularly in this ancient kingdom that was more advanced than even Vegapunk himself. But yeah, at the very least there. But anyway, I do like how Vegapunk ends up relaying what Clover said to him about history by the victor, and then it's spreading over the world. You've got the Trafalgar Wolf slavery bit, showing us that as an example of showing that as a bit of an example of losers being erased by history, as most of them, as those slaves are probably those that fight against the world government and end up being forgotten and just being built for the slave bridge. So it's interesting that this bridge is being still made, since I thought the revolutionary armies liberated the slaves there. Though guess they couldn't maintain it forever, and the dragons just pretty much ordered more slaves there. But who knows? But either way, that bridge is still being built. I do like how you got Zeph listening into this bit about history decided by the winners, as I think he's a veteran pirate and he's perhaps heard things, and he's perhaps maybe thinking about all the things that were told. Maybe this might convince him about, about the All Blue, but who knows. But I do love that fact that you got Robin just listening in to Vegapunk's message, and you know, with the way she's covering her eyes and realizing what Vegapunk is trying to tell for the world. It's like with his death, he's making sure that the world knows that knows what Urahara fought and died for. At this point, the world government will not be unable to keep the cover things, but yeah. Anyway, we cut back to like the Straw Hats, up on the Lava Face with Zoro's group, Zoro and Nami's group, where one of them's shouting, "Hey, what are you doing?" As Vegapunk's message is saying, has at last been told to the world just now. So just saying, shoot us off, but Lilith says, no, we can't go yet, saying that, Zoro saying that Nezjuro or old Horse Gramps is going to attack him again. With Lilith saying how that's why we can't leave just yet, saying that even though she understands that their ship is able to fly a distance on a kilometer, saying that if he even manages to reduce the run-up speed and go, as we see Nezjuro charging or preparing for another attack, saying with her going on about how your horizontal projection distance drops, and saying that even if the ship is damaged a bit, that will cause it to crash into the ship, cause it to crash in the ground and the water, saying that they will be unable to escape without harm if Nezjuro attacks. And that's where behind her, and much to like Lilith's surprise, Atlas comes in, swinging her arm, knocking out Lilith, shocking Zoro, Usopp, and Chopper, with Zoro asking why did they do that. Lilith ends up turning off something on Atlas's head with not Atlas's, Lilith's head, with her then saying to the Straw Hats to take care of Lilith, saying that telling them to fly and then she'll remove the obstacle. Usopp is confused by what she means by that, and we see that York learns that Lilith's access is shorted out, saying that only Atlas is left. So showing that Atlas has just turned off whatever thing that connected to Punk Records has been disabled, and she's just knocked out for the meantime, but it makes it look like she's dead. Nezjuro angrily prepares to attack, with Nami telling Zoro to take Lilith inside, with him responding, with like the others asking Atlas to explain what she's doing. Jinbei says just to get going. Chopper asks if he's sure, but saying they'll regret it if they are too slow to act. Zoro arguing Brook to hit it, which Brock complies with, as they do the Kudabi burst. But Nezjuro, ends up while Atlas is charging at him, slices off Atlas's arm, while Atlas grabs Nezjuro around the stomach and sends him flying away from like the ship before he can attack it, as they do its burst. As Vegapunk says, I can only pray. Well, actually, I'm just going to cut off here and get to my thoughts on this bit here. I do like how you got Zoro and Lilith arguing about what to do with the escape plans. We're Zoro saying they need to leave now because Nezjuro's on their tail. But I do like how Lilith says that as long as he's still active, he can still attack them and cause the ship to fail in its landing mark and even destroy the trajectory of its wings, I think, or where its run-up speed, that it could end up crashing, destroying the ship, and killing them all. So it's like they need to get rid of the obstacle as Nezjuro before they can do anything. And I do like how you got Nezjuro very determined to try and cut the ship. But I will admit, in the surprise manner, we get Lilith being knocked out by Atlas, and she did this to turn off the communications to the thing that connected them to Punk Records. And this is done so that York thinks that, of course, Lilith is dead. In which, to me, I think this implies that Lilith is the one Vegapunk, good Vegapunk, that's going to survive the events of Egghead. I think with her knocked out, she's pretty much guaranteed to be left alive. So people like King of Lightning, who really likes Lilith, will probably be very happy that that Lilith is alive, which, to be fair, I think there's a lot of One Piece fanboys that actually wanted Lilith to be alive. Similar to how probably like who are very similar to like how Sanji thinks and feels about Lilith. So yeah, she's alive. Which, to be fair, I think she was always the one most likely to survive. I think, since she was the most human-like of all the Vegapunk clones, if you ask me. Now, interesting. Atlas tells him to take care of Lilith. Has led to some speculating. Does that mean Lilith is going to join the Straw Hats? At the moment, I'm not sure, but at the very least, I think she's going to remain for them for a little bit before maybe even helping them get some upgrades to end up fighting the world government. But at the very least, I think if she doesn't join the Straw Hats, at the very least, I think she either will stay someplace where she's protected, or maybe go to the Revolutionary Army so she can help them in their fight against the world government. I'm not sure at the moment, but that's currently what's going on. It could be possible that she ends up joining the Straw Hats. We do not quite know. But I do know that where Atlas is going, she's about to sacrifice herself. And I do like how her arm's cut off, and that's like the first hint that, okay, this is going to be a sacrifice moment. Now, I'm not going to get to whether or not Atlas actually dies or not in this chapter, but after all, the chapter is named after her. But yeah, I do like how she's able to fly and grab Nesjo away from the Thousand Sunny, even if it's the cost of her arm. But yeah, I do like how Jinbei is like ready to do his helmsman job, saying that they're going to do it now, Itzy, and best not to regret it later. I like how Zoro has got Brook to comply with the Kudai burst, so I do like that. Anyway, cutting back to like the chapter, we cut to like Luffy's group where Emmet is awakened, as Vegapunk message says that this message has made it safely out to the world at large. As when the Kudai burst was flying, the little bit before is like saying, I can only pray that the message has made it safely out to the world at large. People being shocked by the robot. Let's see. With one Marine asking, what's happening, Vice Admiral Hound? Saying that there's a huge boar, a snake, and a bird, and the robot. But the Admiral says, I don't get it. I didn't hear about any of this, showing that he has no idea what's going on. Luffy is just excited about the giant robot. Let's see, the Giants are so sparkling, along with Sanji and Frankie going like, is that an Iron Giant? And let's see, you get Emmet sort of saying, Joe boy, I'm so happy to see you again. But Luffy is confused, looking around, thinking, okay, who's he talking to? But Emmet does that comedic thing of like, you, doing that arm chop thing. It's like saying, it's you I'm talking about. As Vegapunk's message continues saying it'd be foolish to hear about a war 900 years in the past from only one side. As I think Emmet says, you go ahead, your enemy is my enemy. I am so happy. I get to fight for you again, Joe boy. Let's see, Luffy is just, but Luffy just says, this is amazing. You can talk. With the Giant saying, the Emmet saying, Joe boy is in danger. With then get like Top Man Rokuri and Jupiter just talking about how it seems they cannot end Vegapunk's speech unless they shatter the robot to pieces. As Emmet says, I must protect him. The Giants shout, get the ship moving, and says that with one of them, I believe, Broggy asking, is that thing on our side, Straw Hat? With Luffy saying, well, it says they want to protect someone named Joy Boy, but asks who that is. Let's see, but the Giants reveal that they didn't actually hear what he actually said. Let's see, surprising Luffy, and he's confused, showing that, let's see, Luffy probably be able to hear the voice, implying that Luffy, having the voice of all things, so he can only hear certain, let's see, certain people, certain ancient creatures talking, and it seems Emmet is similar to like the Sea Kings and Sanishu from Zao. So yeah, so it seems like let's see, the voice of her own things can only really communicate with him, so there's that. Anyway, we get Vice Admiral Bluegrass, still in child form, saying, "Don't let them sail away," ordering Marines to fire at the giants. As I go, "Yes, man." As Vegapunk goes, like, "History requires a multi-factored approach to understanding entirely. If I only had more time on my side," as the giants are getting attacked by the Marines. Emmett is preparing to do something with his left arm, as Jupiter is about to attack him. As Vegapunk continues saying, "Alas, there are forces outside my ability to stop." Sanji and Frankie get all spark-eyed, saying, "It's winding up. It's going to shoot something." But as Jupiter charges forward, Emmett just cannot really see the fire from his arm, and it's just something just poofs out. Emmett goes like, "Huh?" with Sanji, Frankie, and Luffy, but Luffy with the more Popeye going like, "What?" with them just saying, "Look out, robot!" as Emmett gets his arm bitten off by Jupiter, left arm bitten off by Jupiter, as the right arm tries to hold Jupiter down, saying that with I think Luffy or someone saying, "No, Robo!" with one of the elders saying, "That's a 9-year-old weapon. Of course it doesn't work anymore." Or maybe one of the Straw Hats is saying that, but at least maybe Sanji or Frankie, I'm not sure. I have to wait and see how the anime voices it. But anyway, Saturn running towards it with his spider legs, just telling Jupiter to crush it between his jaws. And it's telling him to stop the transmission as Saint Saturn jumps off of Jupiter and aboards the giant ship, saying that they're not going anywhere, shocking some of the giants. As you see Saturn just staring deadly eyes at Kuma and Barney, as we see them being looked. Barney's in her kid form at the moment. Sanji then looks up and seeing that it's the Sunny and that it's falling down. And this is where I'm going to cut to give my thoughts. So on this part of the chapter, I do like how the Marines are just completely confused what is going on. The fact that there's a giant robot and that there's also giant boar, snakes, and birds, but they don't realize that that's their superiors, the 5 elders, as this is the first time they've probably seen this monstrous form. And even some of the vice admirals haven't seen them doing this. They might be able to see the 5 elders, but it's clear that they haven't exactly gotten they've got all the privileges of seeing their monstrous forms compared to, say, probably like the admirals and the fleet admirals, if you will. So they're completely confused, but I'm curious to see let's see how they will respond once they learn more of the truth that these monsters are the 5 elders, or this robot was from the Void Century that Vegapunk has been talking about. Now, granted, Vice Admiral Hound seems to be one of the Marines that believes, let's see, Vegapunk's words are seemingly lies or just causing chaos. But anyway, I do like how Luffy and Emmett are interacting. Luffy's just excited at all of the giants and Frankie and Sanji, but this is because of Oda's portrayal of male characters just being excited at giant robots and then just all being happy. I just do like how the robot's just excited to fight alongside Joeboy again, but Luffy, of course, still doesn't know what Joey Boy and Nika is just confused and looking around, resulting, of course, in a very comedic moment of the robot saying, "I'm talking about you." Granted, I'm not sure if Emmett knows that Luffy is a different Joy Boy from the Joey Boy from like 900 years ago, but at the very least just calls him Joe Boy because, well, he has pretty much the sun god's power like Joe Boy did. But either way, he's calling it. But granted, at this point, I definitely say that after this whole thing, Luffy is probably, after being called Nika and Joy Boy a few times, is at some point going to learn at least a basic idea of who these 2 individuals are and their connection and why people keep calling him Nika or Joe Boy. At At the very least, he's probably going to learn the legend of Nika. Now he's going to learn about Joe Boy. Who knows? Given the fact that Vegapunk has revealed quite a bit of information to the world, at the very least, Luffy's probably going to learn that Joe Boy was the first pirate and possibly the one that had the One Piece treasure. Whether or not he learns that Joe Boy also had his devil fruit, that remains to be seen. But either way, I do like how Emma's just saying, "I will help you because your enemies are my enemies." And but yeah, so I do like how he's talking. But it's interesting that, of course, Luffy can only hear him for the voice of all things. So I'm wondering if that means some special thing was only can be programmed with like people that have that. Can he listen to the robot, or is it only really speaking to like, or is the robot only speaking in a manner that only the shows that someone like Joe Boy would be able to understand? Who knows? Whether or not Emmett had his own act, could communicate and talk to other beings remains to be seen. Though granted, given the fact is that his arm ripped off, I'm assuming that he's probably going to die, or at least going to be destroyed by this arc, and sacrificing himself to get Luffy and the others out of the way. But I'm just guessing on that part. But who knows? But it'll be a shame, because if he survived, it would have been interesting to have him chat with Tanisha, given the fact that they're both former Joy Boy companions, and how they both and have them both asking how they feel about how Joe Boy's returned, and let's see if they're excited or not about that. So I do like that, but yeah. But anyway, I do like how the elders realize, okay, if we want to end Vegapunk's message, we need to destroy this robot for good. But yeah, I do like Luffy starting to ask about, the Giants about Joy Boy after being excited that the robot is here to help them. But it seems that they learned that, but from when granted, they have not really they can't really hear the robot, but at the very least, they haven't really responded to Joe Boy's name. So it might imply that they might know the legend of Nika, but they might not know about Joy Boy, the last person who used the power of Nika. Or the power of the Nika fruit, but yeah. So at the very least, they're not entirely sure of that. But anyway, one thing that's note here is Vegapunk's message about how it'd be foolish to just look at Miss Mysterious Past from one point of view from 900 years ago, and saying that you must take into account different facts of history, and have multiple look at it from different angles and find out what is actually the proper truth of it as that. So at this point, he's sort of implying that even though that this is one side of the argument, you might need to look at it from like multiple angles to see how much of it one side is telling the truth or not. Now, granted, this is arguably going to be used as an excuse by the world government to try and voice the Void Century on like all its details as much as possible in negative light to try and cover their tracks. But I feel like this was mostly done to make sure that that Marines are not yet ready to turn against the world government, though I assume that is eventually coming. But at the very least, it seems Vegapunk is at the very least not implying that, oh no, the world government is evil, you need to side against them, blah, blah, blah. This history shows you why they're all corrupt. But no, he's saying that you need to take into account multiple factors and just find out the proper truth of this forgotten past at some point, and make your own conclusions about who's right and who's wrong, if you will. So that part at least is good, I guess. But at the very least, it does a good way of explaining that, okay, not everything's going to be revealed. Not everyone's going to turn against the world government just yet, as that was getting a bit like, surely at this point with Vegapunk's message, they would, but no, that's not happening yet. Anyway, I do like how the robot is trying to prepare to fire something from his arm, but due to like the years he's been offline, he can no longer do that stuff, which unfortunately, which I do like how Sanji and Frankie were both looking forward to it, but then Luffy joins him in like this disappointment of like, it's not working. He's got his arm cut off, which does make me think that, this giant is not making it out in one piece, and if he's already lost an arm, he's likely to die since, someone else has lost their arm this chapter. But yeah. And I do like how Saturn he just immediately decided to let Jupiter handle the robot while he goes and deals with the giants, particularly Barney and Kuma. So clearly this is leading up to the final confrontation between Saturn and Barney and Kuma, and arguably probably Luffy there since he's also on the ship. So I do like the build up to that. For the record, I have read the next chapter. I'm just not spoiling it for the sake of this witty review that I'm a bit behind on. Hold on a second, people. I'm just going to catch a quick drink. Running out of water, and I was just talking for so long. Sorry about that. Anyway, where was I? Oh, yes. So, you pretty much got Saturn Ritzy at the ship, pretty much ready to do, like, the final confrontation, if you will, between him and Barney, and arguably Luffy and Kuma as well. As I do like that Sanji's the one that noticed the Sunny's flying down, but yeah. Anyway, cutting back to that, I do like you got Zoro telling everyone to hang on tight as they're going down, and it's one of them saying, "Wait a second, are we even going to make it?" As we see the ship crashing down to like the Thousand Sunny, Atlas, Ritzy, and Nezjuro staring angrily at Nezjuro, saying, with him saying, well, "You would sacrifice yourself," as she slashes Atlas, but Atlas smiles, saying, "Nope, extra service on the house." I should probably mention that it's with Clover revealing to be a D. That means that he's probably the first D to die that wasn't smiling, as he was contemplating on the fact that so this is the path that humanity's chosen to ignore this like long history, as him and his like fellow archaeologists were killed. But yeah. But anyway, back to Atlas. She's smiling, saying nope. Extra service on the house as she blows up with Nezjuro in his parameter, and everyone's just going like on the Sunny, as Vegapunk then continues as the Sunny ends up flying to water, as I think Atlas's explosion also pushed them back a bit, able them to reach the surface. As Vegapunk says, 25 years ago, the pirate Goldie Roger. As you hear the Strat saying, "That's it, we're going to make it." As Vegapunk says, completed an unprecedented tour of the entire world. With Usopp and Chopper now crying, saying, "What was that? It can't end like this, Atlas." As you just hear them just crying. And I think some translation says, like, "Is this what you meant by sacrifice or something?" But anyway, Vegapunk continues saying, and what, as he says, and what he and his crew heard. York is getting all happy and smiling about saying, "Atlas is gone. Now I'm the only Dr. Vegapunk left in the world. Is little old me." But Nezjuro, Ritzy regenerating from that explosion, says, "No, not yet." As Saturn says, not while Stella continues to babble on. As you got Topman, Rokuri, and Jupiter then charging on it and saying that that's them saying, "Yes, of course, we'll stop it at once." With Emmett saying, "Oh, I'm all rusty," and things like, "Joe boy, you said when the time is right. I think this counts. I'm going to use it, okay?" As Vegapunk says, "We're likely the Ritzy going on about how we're the likeliest, the purest voices of the saying that Vegapunk says we're likely the purest voices of the past, talking about how the crew had heard that stuff." As Vegapunk says, continues, "In conclusion, as I'm sure you've all summarized by now, my view of our future is thus." But you captured like Imperial Dam prisoners going like, "Wait, what? What does he mean, Gold D?" Learning that Ritzy, so this is arguably the first time they learned that Roger's actual name is Goldie Roger, ending the chapter. Anyway, now for the final thoughts on this part of the chapter. I do like how Zoro's being like the first mate, telling everyone to hang tight, which Nami does. And it looks like at the moment they're not going to make it on the thing. But Atlas, which confirmed, which I confirmed with the arm cut off and then being slashed again, did die. Her explosion seems to have pushed the Sunny to land on the water, so sort of saving their life. But anyway, speaking of Atlas' death, Kim going like, Nezjuro going like, "You would sacrifice yourself," seemingly implying that she's being foolish. But Atlas is just smiling, saying it's an extra service on the house. let's see, just being content with now sacrificing herself and smiling, sort of similar to like the Will of D's. But then again, Vegapunk's has studied the Will of D's, so she probably knows more than most people. But yeah, she full blown explodes. So yeah, she's dead. Now I've seen some people like, no, Atlas, and some people like going, it's fine, it's Atlas. I mean, I'm not too attached to the character, so yeah. Which arguably, to be fair, we haven't really learned, not spent too much time with this new character Atlas. The only thing that let's see, that made people arguably care for Atlas is the fact that she gave Luffy food to eat at the beginning of the arc, and then of course got attacked by Rob Lucci. So those are the most notable things. There are a few others, but I think some people might not get attached, but if they do get attached to Atlas, it's because she's one of the people that fed Luffy. Now, I'm not emotionally invested in like Atlas being alive or dead, I guess, but I will admit it's props to Oda for killing off Atlas, and even like a very nice send off of like flying the enemy in the air, being sliced, and then sacrificing themselves so that the friends can escape. Let's see, the Straw Hats, and of course her fellow Vegapunk, Lilith. So I thought that was like a very nice sacrifice there. Let's see, fitting of the character, I think, at the end. And with her dead, it seems that now only Lilith and York are left. Granted, there's still possibly Edison, but I think he's slowly dying from his wounds and is already disconnected. Anyway, York continues to be this testable being like excited about, ooh, Atlas is gone. I'm the only Vegapunk left now. Not really Lilith has survived, which I will admit, I'm hoping that Lilith is the one to finish off York in the end at some point down the line, as York is just surprised that Lilith's about, and Lilith being the sort of evil Vegapunk, if you quote unquote evil Vegapunk, will finish off Lilith. I think it would be poetic justice in a sense, saying like, you know what, York, you're right. There should only be one Vegapunk, and it's going to be me, sort of situation. I'm not sure if that's how it go down, but yeah. Anyway, I do like how Usopp and Chopper like, no, Atlas, why did you do it? Why? Not really Stuo. Showing that these two are still not really over like people sacrificing their lives to save them, as Usopp was doing that with like the samurai and Wano and Chopper being sad that Pedro died and like whole cake. But I do think it's fitting about that bit of sacrifice. Though interesting with the way that the five elders talk about saying that no, you're still not the last one, pointing out to the Stellar body. That, I mean, Stella's message when seeing the Iron, Emmett the Iron Giant, so they need to take Emmett out. Which I do like how Peter and Top Man Mercury are determined to take out the robot. But granted, I do wonder if Nezjuro knows that Lilith is actually still alive, as she's just been knocked out. But he could also be referring to like the message that Vegapunk has left behind. We'll have to wait and see. Now, at the moment, I'm more leaning towards him thinking about the giant robot with Vegapunk's message. So he probably doesn't think Lilith is going to be alive. So at the moment, Lilith will not be publicly hunted by the world government, as they do not know that Lilith is still, as far as they're aware of, Lilith is dead. But who knows? We'll have to wait and see how what the world government knows about Lilith being alive or not. We'll have to wait and see on that bit. But it would be funny to see York getting in trouble when it says like, "You Fritzy, how could you not notice that one of the other Vegapunks was still alive or something?" But yeah. Anyway, it's interesting that Emmett the Iron Giant has something in mind to use against the five elders, thinking that the time has probably now come. Thinking what apparently a request, something that Joe Boy told him that to do, saying that when the time is right, he will know when to use it, and it seems that moment is now. Granted, I assume it might be some self-sacrifice thing, as we're probably going to get the death of this giant robot, so because arguably this robot probably knows too much about the Void Sentry, and Luffy can't quite learn that until Robin has discovered the Void, which he looked at all the road poneglyphs and find the One Piece, but yeah. But I do like how Vegapunk is now seemingly at the end of his message, and this time he's drawing up a conclusion about what's going to happen in the future. And if those who have read the next chapter knows exactly what he means by that. But I do like how he brings up that Roger's full name is Gold D. Roger, and you get some of the reactions, particularly from Imperial Down inmates, being like, "Huh, Gold D?" And if they're reacting to that, and the citizens of the world are reacting to that, then they likely at this point realize that okay, Roger's actually a member of the D clan. Now they might still not quite understand what the D clan is. They just know that it's something that Vegapunk said that was cut off. And now that he's talking about a specific pirate, the Pirate King, in the manner of D, revealing that, okay, let's see, this D name seems to be very important if all these major figures in the world like Garp, Luffy, Dragon, Ace, and let's see, Blackbeard all have the D in their names. So we'll have to wait and see how the world reacts to that. But yeah. Overall, I'd say it's a pretty good chapter. At the very least, probably an 8 out of 10. Let's see, Atlas's sacrifice to get Nezjuro away from the Straw Hats, as well as making sure Lilith is safe. All of that was done very well. I'm glad that, let's see, it might not be the saddest death, but I do like the drama of it, of like self-sacrifice to help the comrades. So I do like that. I love the interactions with Luffy and Emmett. And Emmett, let's see, not even though he's a powerful robot, A just come up to him and he's about to seemingly do a sort of final self-sacrificing move to make sure that this new Joy Boy escapes. I also like how we got the flashback of Clover being about revealing that he's actually a D, even though I'm pretty certain this is not actually planned, and that we learn that he is motivated to learn about the truth because of the death of his brother, and his death motivates Vegapunk to continue the research, when at first he was rather reluctant to do so. And I do like how you got Saturn set up for, like, let's see, a final showdown against Bonnie and Kuma, and also Straw Hat escaping, as well as Vegapunk revealing to the world that Roger's actually a member of the D clan. Now, granted, I will say I probably might agree with some criticism that, let's see, there's nothing new that's actually being learned about Vegapunk's message at this point, but I would probably say, which I think is a bit of a downer, but if I had to guess, this is pretty much just a build up to what Vegapunk's about to say next and what he thinks is going to happen down in the future. So yeah, about an 8.5 out of 10. Those are probably the best scores you can do this chapter. So yeah, overall, that's my thoughts. I hope those who listened or watched, even if they only did for a few moments, enjoyed what I had to say. I look forward to discussing One Piece with you all next time. But for now, I am Blue Star Saber signing off. Thank you, everyone, and goodbye.